Hello, this is Dustin with Home Mender, and today we're going to talk about 7 things that you probably didn't know about your house. If you do know these things about your house, good for you. We're all proud of you, but chances are there's going to be one that you don't know. If you do know them all, let me know in the comments section down below. Tell me, hey, I know all these things, Dustin. Give me new stuff to learn about my home. I'm sure these tips are going to help you out, save you some money and aggravation. Let's get to it. Now generally a toilet cutoff is located to the back left at the wall. It could come out of the floor also, but knowing where that is when you have a toilet issue can save yourself lots of aggravation. Here's something that you might not have known. Whenever you have a toilet that's like jumping when it's filling and it's like brrr, it could be that the cutoff isn't open all the way. Sometimes sediment and calcium deposit and whatever else is in our city water gets bound up inside the cutoff, and you may need to like open it and shut it, open it and shut it, kind of break up that sediment and get that water flowing again. Another thing that you may not know, if you do have to valve off your toilet or your water gets cut off, you can still flush the toilet. Not flushing? What are we gonna do? Uncle Joe just came in here and did a big job. Just pour some water in your toilet to flush it. Phew! That saved us some embarrassment. One that really puzzles a lot of people, and probably because they don't want to get up there, is the roof. Now shingles, one missing shingle can cause big problems, whether it's broken off completely or just one little misplaced nail. So when you get home from work, or when you're on your way to work, take a look up at the roof. Usually if you step back to the street, even if you are a 2-story, you can see if there's a missing tab or something. The best thing to do is once in a while get up there and take a look for nails or places where the roof goop is broken away or not doing its job anymore. And you may also want to go into your closets with a flashlight and check out the ceilings. They don't really get seen a lot. You can obviously see a roof leak up in the ceiling or in your living room or somewhere that's common, but who really gets in their closet and looks up for stains? You should at least once every 6 months. The big thing that you should know about your house is where the main cutoffs are. Usually they're located at the street. Some houses do have an inside cutoff or a main where you can valve it off and not have to go out to the street. If you don't know where your main cutoff is, you probably should find it. Just trace the lines where they come into your house and follow them until you find one. If you don't have a main cutoff, then make sure you know how and where to cut it off at the street, and you have your water key. The water keys can be picked up about $8 at any hardware store, and they are lifesavers. You also want to know where your water heater cutoff is, how to turn the toilet off when there's a problem with that. You don't want to flood the place and have big problems there. By the time you call someone, yeah, my house is flooding, your house is already flooded. If you know where to cut it off, you can save yourself some money, an insurance claim, and possibly your marriage. Now, another main issue that gives a lot of homeowners and DIYers trouble is knowing what kind of caulk to use. It's pretty simple. There's only 3 types of caulk you should be using in and around your house. Unless you're doing something like a concrete repair or like a cracks in the sidewalk or a driveway or something like that, there's 3 kinds. There's a painter's caulk. It's called painter's caulk because it needs to be painted. It doesn't seal anything. It's basically to fill cracks so you can paint baseboard, trim molding, shoe molding, whatever, and make it look beautiful and complete. You can also caulk nail holes and things like that with it, but it's designed to be painted. You don't just caulk it and leave it. The second, most importantly, is the mildew resistant caulk. This is like a tub and tile caulk to be used around the bathrooms. If you use, say, Alex or a painter's caulk in the bathroom, it's gonna mold and mildew and get super black. That's how you know when someone uses the wrong caulk, because it's all black and mildewed. The tub and tile caulk are moisture, mildew, and mold resistant. They're to be used in wet areas. And the third and final, probably my most favorite, is like the hardcore quad. Quad, and there'll be links down in the description to all these products. The quad is for exterior stuff. It's like hardcore. You can caulk brick to steel with this stuff. It's the manliest of all caulks. caulking threshold to brick or caulking exterior windows or something like that, this stuff is like impenetrable. It's leak proof and it's hardcore. And if you don't know this, you might also want to get a dripless caulk gun. These are awesome. If you're a messy caulker, caulk, even when you hit the brake, it doesn't stop dripping out of the nozzle. So getting a dripless caulk gun, and possibly one that you can hang, is the way to go. Now, one thing you might not know is about water pressure in the shower. A lot of times, these get bound up and seized up with calcium and other deposits and stuff that come through the water and get trapped in the shower head. A way that you can tell is if you have good water pressure coming out of the tub spout, but lousy water pressure when you send it up, it's probably the shower head. You don't need to change it. You're just gonna wanna pull it off and get that sediment out of there. Pair of channel locks, and let's throw a towel over it so we can protect the finish. There we are. Gross. Now, another common question I get is about replacing a ceiling mount light fixture in a home with a ceiling fan. Yes, this can be done, but you have to take extra precautions to do something like this. Like a typical ceiling electrical box cannot support the weight of a fan. The last thing you want to do is change that ceiling mount light to a ceiling fan, get it all finished, go show your wife, hey honey, come take a look at what I did watching one of Dustin's videos, and boom, the thing comes crashing down. There are awesome solutions. There's stuff in the attic, like a fan mount box that can go to the studs and clamp on those and give you the support you need. But there's also this sweet pancake box. I pulled out a fan in one of the videos and found that it didn't have the proper support box that it needs, so I used a pancake box in there. You can take a look at that if needed. Another thing that homeowners should know but don't, and I know because I get tons of calls about going to unstop a disposal. Now, disposals are really easy to work on. They even come with the wrench when you have a disposal. It's a little, I don't even know what the shape is. It's a brake wrench for disposals. Basically, there's only two things that can go wrong with them. One is they won't make any noise when you flip the switch, and two, they'll hum. Now, if they're humming, that means something is jamming the blades. You take this brake wrench, there's a little Allen fitting up directly in the center underneath it, and you just stick that Allen in it and turn it, break it and free it up, and then you can get it moving again. When you flip the switch back on, if it's still rattling around, you've got something in there. You gotta reach in there and grab it. Obviously, after you turn the switch off. If it's not doing anything when you turn the switch on, that means that little red button is tripped on the bottom. Now, the reason the red button was tripped on the bottom is probably because it's jammed up. And it kept pulling and pulling and trying to turn that thing, but the blades wouldn't turn, so it flipped the breaker as a safety switch. So what you would need to do is flip the little red button safety switch and then do the brake wrench. Sometimes you can just flip the switch and it works, and that's great. But a lot of times they are seized and you need to use the brake wrench to free them up. Now that's gonna save you about a $90 service call. And finally, the last one we have to mention is home security. Now, people have doors put in, but the screws that come with the doors with the deadbolt catch plate, they're super tiny. That means they barely go through the jamb and they don't get into the stud. You should remove those screws and put in like 2.5 inch, and make sure the catches, the deadbolt catch and the knob catch, have nice long screws in them so they'll contact the jamb. It's much harder to break into a place like that. Obviously, making your windows tight and making sure all the locks work on there, that's pretty self-explanatory. People breaking into your house is a big thing. It usually happens during the day, not at nighttime where people think. It happens during the day while you're at work. So do these extra things to make sure that your house is secure while you're gone. Another useful trick for that is if you have a panic button on your car, on your car remote. If you hear strange noises or you hear somebody breaking in, hit that alarm button by your bed. Keep the keys by your bed, hit the alarm button, it's gonna scare the prowler, they're gonna scatter. So that's it, just a few things that you might not have known about your house. I hope they helped you out. If they did, click the subscribe button. Help me out, it helps support the channel. It helps me to make new and awesome videos, teaching people and just loving on the community and helping them fix their own stuff. So for the Home Mender, this is Dustin. I hope you learned something today, and if you did, don't forget to click subscribe. Thanks for watching.